Okay, so welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a recap of Tidelanders Season 1, Episode 2. I think it's pronounced Orphan Letant. I did put it in Google, but by the time I got all this shit set up, and I don't know why I didn't do this first, I believe it's pronounced Letant. Okay, we're just going to move on from that. Okay, so obviously it picks up where I left off with Cal in the water, and then she realized she's breathing underwater. She's able to get the chains off. She makes it to shore, and then she just sees some random guys on the beach and starts beating the shit out of them, thinking that they're the ones who actually took her and threw her in the water. Of course, those guys are like, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't know what you're talking about. But for a minute, she was just in the zone, and she fucked him up. Eventually, she was able to see Sinn and like, those guys, it wasn't them. So there's also 2 children on the beach that saw that, and so she was about to go to them to ask, I guess, if they saw anything, but they ran like hell. They like, bitch, we saw what you did to them. We ain't even trying to see you. We ain't even trying to talk to you. We have no words for you. So they ran. And then we flashed to Augie and his team. Now, also in the last episode, you saw Augie get into the truck, and he went to go to some meeting. Okay, so now they're at the meeting, and it's with their buyer. And Augie pulls out Zach's head with his eyes all gouged out, and was basically asking the guy, Tom, I guess his name was Tom, if he had something to do with Zach spying on their suppliers. And of course, the guy was like, no, I have a lot of respect for you. No, that wasn't us. We don't know. We don't know what that was all about. So, Cal's walking around and she sees a clothesline, puts some clothes on, because remember, she was about to get into the shower. So all she had on was a t-shirt and underwear. And so around this time, Corey pulls up in his police cruiser. Of course, they didn't call the police guys that she kicked ass on the beach. They called the police. He didn't call up with her, and she was like, somebody grabbed me, and he's now talking to her, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So the guy Lamar's the guy who he works with Adrielle, and he lives at the compound. And so he was taking something into the vault, and he saw that their finances was kind of scarce. He saw a few stacks here and a few stacks there, and he's kind of looking like, okay. And so Adrielle walks up behind him, and she was like, well, you're not used to seeing it this empty. And she was like, well, just give out, we're gonna have to cut, I guess, whatever allowance, whatever money they're supposed to get, we're gonna have to cut that for the time being. So I don't know what they were supposed to get, but in the end they ended up getting like $300. Okay, so he started asking her, so where did all the money go? Did this have something to do with you traveling? And she said she got real close to him and started, using her feminine wiles. It's like, you asked me that question before. As to say, like, don't fucking question me. Just do what I tell you to do. So I'm like, oh, okay, Adrielle, all right. So Corey is taking Cal's statement, and a police car pulls up. You hear sirens, and the police car pulls up. He goes out, and you see the door cracked, and so she can see the police car. She starts having a flashback, because if you remember, she was saying that when she was 14, the police had come and taken her to prison for arson and murder. And so she started having some flashback. So Craig went outside to talk to, I'm assuming that was Paul, and she made a run for it. So around this time, Augie is arriving back at the center, I guess, where they do put the drugs and shit, cut the drugs, whatever. I don't that process, but that's where they put everything together. And so he starts talking to Colton, and Colton started asking him about if he questioned him about Zach, and he said he did. And so eventually Colton was like, maybe he wasn't working with anyone. Maybe he really was just out there of his own volition. And so next Cal runs up to the gate, because this point the gate is closed, and she's calling out to him. Of course, he goes over to see what the hell is going on. Okay, and then you see Colton on the phone, and he's saying, we have a problem. So at this point, you don't know who the hell he's talking to. But now you can kind of see that he was shocked to see her. So he either was involved in it, or he knew about it, her kidnapping and potential murder, because he was definitely shocked to see her. Okay, so you see, go back to the compound, and Lamar's now giving out the money, and people obviously are upset because they're not getting the full amount. And so Dylan walks up and he starts talking to Lamar, and he was like, well, Lamar was like, well, what are you, basically asking why he was standing there, because he was standing on the side of the table. And Dylan was like, I'm making sure you're not pocketing any, because it seems to be a lot less than it should be. And so Lamar was basically like, it's like, the head lady is, this was basically what she asked me to do. If you have any problems, or if you want to question somebody, you need to go and talk to her. After that whole thing, you know, everybody got their money, and Dylan ends up leaving, and Viola, she pulls Lamar to the side, and she starts asking him about, you know, what's going on with the money, what exactly is she up to, what is her plans for our future. And basically Lamar was like, she was actually like trying to seduce him, and Lamar was not like unfazed, like, bitch. Now keep in mind, Lamar's wearing the eye patch, which I'm gonna come to later, but he was basically like, girl, I'm not impressed with your little whatever it is you think that you're doing. And if you ask him questions, basically he said the same thing that he told Dylan, go talk to the boss lady. What they did, what the conversation that Adrielle and Lamar did have in the safe was, she asked him if he knew if Kyle was back in town, and of course he said Kyle McTeer, and of course he said he didn't. And she was like, you know, your one benefit to me is that is your information. So I guess he's the person that's supposed to have all the intel and, you know, who's who and what's going on in town to keep her up to date. And so she was kind of put off the fact that he didn't know that she was back. So now we have Lamar. He's going to meet with, I think that was Paul, and to ask about Kyle McTeer and if what was going on. And then he's asking about the attack and like who witnessed it, and do we think that is she one of us? And they're not really sure. And then we find out why Lamar wasn't all that interested in what Viola was offering, because he almost Paul's face almost pulled his lips off his face. He was sucking some goop. I was like, oh, okay, Lamar, all right. So Cal and Augie, they're back at his place. She's telling him about as much as she can remember about the attack. And so now, of course, Augie thinks that it's an attack on him. Somebody's trying to either infiltrate his business or, you know, basically mess his little situation up. And they're going to people to get through him. He's now thinking that maybe somebody was using Zach, trying to get to him through Zach. And of course, Cal is still trying, like, I don't know what happened. He was asking her how she got free, and she didn't really know. And just as he was about to explain something to him, his phone rang. And then he decides that he's going to, he has to leave to go and find out. He's still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. She's like, what if, you know, they come back, we still don't know who kidnapped me. He leaves her with the gun and said he would call Colton to come to the house to stay with her while he's out. Okay. So, we find out, okay, so after that, we see Viola. What we find out is that the two children that saw the attack Cal had, when the Cal attacked the two men, those two children are Tidelanders. So when they went back to the compound to tell Adrielle and them what they had seen. Okay, so now Viola, she's now in the two children are, I think his name is Giles, and the little girl is Bijou, who I think is his sister. So Giles get home and he doesn't see Bijou. So Viola is there. He's asking her, where's Bijou? And so she starts asking him, basically trying to get him to spy on Adrielle so she can find out whatever it is she's trying to find out. And basically, she's kidnapped his sister to make him more compliant. Now these are children, but Viola, girl, bitch. Okay, but I guess when you're dealing with a bitch like Adrielle, you gotta have to be kind of cutthroat. But the babies, you had to use the babies. Okay. So, around this time, did I skip something? Okay, so I did skip something. Okay, so we flash back a little bit. We find out who Colton actually called. It was Rosa, Cal and Augie's mother. So now he's at the bar, and you find out that Rosa orchestrated this attack. She actually hired these people to kill Cal, her daughter. And so, of course, Augie doesn't know this. So when he got in contact with Colton, he ends up calling Colton to tell him to go to the house to stay with Cal because she was scared. So now, you know, his mother, Rosa, was like, you know what? Basically, do the job that you were hired to do. So now he's gone back to the house. And he's thinking, okay, he's there alone now. Now is his opportunity. So around this time, Carol is getting in the tub, and she's submerged. So she's kind of like having these she's kind of having these flashbacks and whatever. And then she obviously jumps up and she starts screaming, but it's not like a regular scream because it starts to echo. And as you saw, as Colton was moving towards the bathroom, as soon as she started screaming, and like he stopped in his tracks, and it was almost like he was some kind of trance. So then she sees him, she gets out of the tub and asks him why he was there. And for a minute, he was just kind of frozen. And then he was like, "Oh well, Augie asked me to come to the house to stay with you until he comes back." And she's basically like, "I don't need you here. I can take care of myself. Get the fuck out." So he left, and next thing you know, we see Adrielle. She's on the beach, and Dylan walks up, and she basically wants him to seduce Cal. For what reason at this point, we don't know. There's something about Cal that, you know, there's something about her, and so now she wants Dylan to seduce her to find out what. Like I said, we don't know. And so we go to Corey. He's not looking into the investigation of arson. This was a crime that sent Cal to prison for 10 years. And so he's looking at some photos, and Paul walks in. Of course, he flips to another screen, but Paul had already seen what he was looking into. And so Corey started asking questions about Pat, their father. It was like, this man was an experienced swimmer, and he was a fisherman. So how did somebody with that much experience drown in the water? And he starts asking these questions, but basically Paul was like, things are what they are, and he basically told him, don't open those files again. So it's like, okay. So of course that said Corey, his fight is the thing, like, what is going on in this town? What y'all got going on? What y'all hiding? Okay, so Adrielle, she's back at in her spot, and she is trying to hide something. But then poor little Giles, I think I'm pronouncing your boy's name wrong, but he was trying to spy on her. He was making so much fucking noise. He ends up knocking something over. Adrielle sees him. He makes a run for it. Of course, there are people coming in, so they grab him. And so now she's questioning him to find out why he was doing this. She knows that he wasn't doing this of his own fruition, that somebody had put him up to it. And so now she's trying to asking him, why did you do this? Who put you up to this? So we go back to the bar, and Rosa's getting to work, and Bill is in her office. And what you find out is that Bill and Rosa had a little thing going on, okay? So, Cal gets to the bar around the same time. Dylan is there, so now he's trying to flirt with her, but she ain't feeling him. She basically was like, you know, I don't know what's up with you and my brother and whatever y'all got going on, but booty you, I don't want you to say you. She makes a beeline for the officer, and she sees Mom and Bill about to get down, and of course she gets emotional because she's like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? Because Bill was her father's friend, and so she's like, what the hell is going on, and how long has this been going on? So now she's questioning whether or not they were having an affair when her father was still alive. And if you remember, she was really close to her father, so she was not happy about what she had walked in on. And then you have so next you know, you see Cal, Rosa, and Augie. They're sitting down, and Cal's asking a bunch of questions like, what is going on, and did you know about her and Bill? And Augie was like, that's between them, they got shit to do with me. And she was like, are you okay with that? And he was basically like, that's not my, Augie's just not getting involved in that aspect of it. And so you can see Cal getting upset, and there's something going on with the water. She had a glass of water that was kind of bubbling and moving, and I don't think they saw it, but Rosa ends up giving her a check. She didn't take the check, but it ended on a sour note. And so Augie ended up telling her that somebody did attack her, and the mom Rose was like, and you'll find out who it is and why they did it, and then I know you'll do the right thing. And it's like, what's the right thing? What are you talking about? But at the same time, this is the same bitch that hired somebody to kill her daughter. Okay. Okay, so now Adrielle is still questioning the child. And of course, Lamar was like, he's just a kid, and you know, it's basically trying to defend him. And she's basically like, somebody sent him to spy on me. Either you convince him to tell me who it is, or he's going to have to be punished. And so now Lamar is like trying to get him to tell him to get the boy to tell him who it was. And of course, he's afraid for his sister, so he doesn't want to say anything. And so after that he walks out, and you see Viola coming. He he grabs her arm and was like, was it you? Did you tell him? And she was basically like, she didn't really, I mean, was she gonna say anything to incriminate herself? She said something to him and then walked off. And so then you have Rosa and Colton. He's in the back of the bar, and she walks out and basically tells him that she wants him to finish the job. And he basically told her, if you want her dead, you have to do this shit yourself. And so as he was walking off, she was like, either you're going to finish the job, or I'm going to tell Augie your deep dark secret. And he was like, yeah, you know what, bitch, if you do that, then I'm going to tell him that you hired me to kill his sister. We'll see how this shit works out. And so she didn't have shit else to say. He walked off, and that was the end of that little conversation. And so Adrielle and Dylan, so she ends up calling Dylan home. So of course he's supposed to be out, you know, perusing, trying to schmooze and seduce Cal. So she ends up calling him back to the compound, and he's like, well, what? Like, he walks in, and all the people are sitting there in their house, all lined up, kind of around, and he's like, what's going on? And so she stands up and gives this little speech about how there is no law, I'm the law, there is no government or whatever, I'm the government, there's no mother, I'm the mother, like everything falls on me, and basically I run this shit, and we need to get to the bottom of what this whole thing is. And so she asked the boy again, like, who told you? I know you didn't do this on your own, tell me who did this. So now she feels like she has to make an example out of him, and you know, anybody else who decides that they gonna be snooping and, you know, moving around, getting in her business. And so he says he didn't say anything. And so she ends up looking at Dylan, and Dylan, guess he knew what he had to do. He walks over to little baby, and he was tough. He was a tough little sucker. He was basically like, just get on with it, coward. That's what he said to Dylan. So Dylan ends up basically gouging one of his eyes out, pulling one of his eyeballs out his head. He didn't scream. He just, considering what happened, he didn't make a whole lot of noise. And so he ends up taking the boy's eyeball out. And I don't know what he did with it, but it was just, oh my God, blood is coming out the child's face. I'm just like, oh shit. So he leaves. Obviously the boy runs out. And who grabs him? Viola. And she was like, tell me, what did you see? And so he waves for her to come closer, and he spit in her face. And so he runs off, and then she goes over to where the sister was being held, and I guess she realized the sister was gone. So now she's standing there like, okay, shit, okay. So you find, what's his name? I keep on his boy Giles, but I know I'm pronouncing his name wrong. He's sitting on the beach, his eye all bandaged up. And then, you know, Bijou walks up. She runs up to him. And Lamar is right behind her. And he asks him again, like, well, okay, so Giles, what happened? Who told you to do that? And so he ends up telling Lamar that Adrielle she has the key, that she's hidden somewhere or something to that effect. And so now Lamar has this information. So now I'm thinking, does Lamar have a pack because he was gouged some time ago? Yeah, I was just thinking, when I saw the patch, I'm like, okay, that's their punishment for people. You pull the damn eyeball out your head, like, god damn. Okay. So Bill is on the boat, and Augie comes up because he has to go out to sea. He's not telling Bill why, and Bill was telling Augie that he needs to get Cal out of town. And Augie was like, no, he doesn't want to do that because Cal is the only person that he trusts. And I don't know, he was taking a dig at Bill. Like, I mean, at this point, he doesn't know who in his camp is doing what at this point. So Augie goes out to sea and do whatever it is that he was going to do. And Cal and Corey, they're sitting on the beach now. They're talking, and actually, things get all hot and heavy. And it looks like they about to get down, but then she started getting all a little too excited, and she was scratching the shit out of his chest, and eventually he started screaming, and she got up and ran. He got all these damn scratch marks on his chest. I'm like, girl. So now he's kind of looking like, what the hell was that? And so now Adrielle, you first back to Adrielle, she's in the basement, whatever she had, this creature she had locked up. Remember the first episode where she was like, she went down to hide to put that little piece of stone carving away, and then she was like, I have nothing for you. And so now it's this creature. I don't know if they can read, see something. I don't know, but she had put water in this little thing, and it was about to put his hands in, and she's like, no, first tell me what you see. And so you still don't really know right now what Adrielle is, what exactly she's doing. And so you have so while Augie's going out to sea, you see Cal, she's standing on the dock, and she hears some noise behind her. It was Bill. Bill jumps on her, and they both fall into the water. And so he's holding her in the water, and then you realize, okay, Bill is a Tidelander, and so he knows that Cal is a Tidelander. So now they come back onto the dock, and of course, initially she was upset. She thought he was trying to kill her. And he basically explained to her that Rosa is not your mother, Augie is not your brother, you're a Tidelander just like me. And so, of course, she's sitting there now with her face all like, what the hell? Because of course this is her life, her family, the only family she's known. And next you flash to Augie on the boat, and you see why he went out to sea. He went out to sea to dump Zach's head. And so while he was out there, he could hear like the siren song, that whole thing. And so he just put some headphones on, and he went on and started the boat and went back on to shore. And that's basically how the episode ended. So it was a lot that happened. So we still don't know. We don't know Cal's parentage. We can tell that Rosa knows that Cal isn't her daughter, but Augie doesn't know that that's not his biological sister, as far as we can tell. And we don't know who her parents are. She doesn't know at this point who her parents are, and nobody is none the wiser about Vioka and her fuckery. They got that child screwed up, got that child blinded in one eye, and Adrielle's motives at this point are still a mystery to everybody. So that's how this episode ended. I am going to end this here, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.